Welcome to episode 145 of BSS. We have a special guest with us today and a member of the Bledsoe family, adopted. Darrick Ingram.
Woo!
That's me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Dude,
man.
Thanks for being here.
I appreciate it.
I'm very happy to have you here. I like to, when we have guests that we know, I like to go in how we know each other. And you cut in when I'm not giving enough. But Darrick is Chris Jr.'s probably at this point like oldest friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
one of, at the very least, yeah.
I mean, when did you guys become friends? Like 16, 17?
Around that time, I want to say 17, but it feels like a little bit before. So 16, 17
Yeah.
is appropriate, yeah.
Did y'all go to school together?
We did.
Oh, cool.
High school. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And the way we met, basically, one of our mutual friends just told me one day, like, oh, you got to meet our friend Chris, you know, or my friend Chris, you'll love him. Just come over. And I was like, okay. So we got off the bus at your house and we became instant friends, and sort of I've been around since that day.
That's so awesome.
So back in those days, we the Bledsoe family, we were new to Grays Creek, you know.
Right, yeah.
At that time, and we didn't know anybody. And like I met you, but then like, you know, Chris met Darrick because we were so many grades apart. Mm-hmm. And I just remember being like 12 or 13 years old, and you went from like coming over all the time to basically like living with us for a long stint of time. And the thing that stands out to me about those times was there was such a bond there that like there would be times when Chris was gone and you would just like have sleepovers in my room.
Yeah, definitely.
and we would just hang out, bro. And
play video games, Halo.
Exactly,
or,
yeah.
You know.
Listen to music, yeah. And I wanted to talk about some of those earlier times because you just blew my mind 2 weeks ago. So we're doing the remodel on the house. Mm-hmm. Junior and Dad and Darrick are living with me for a month now.
Yeah.
This is week 4.
This is week 4.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's already been a month?
Yeah.
And
we're about halfway through.
Ground, but yeah. Or about halfway.
Yeah. And it's been crazy, man. And like a couple weeks ago, you told me some stories that I had never heard that I just thought were so valuable that like we have to go into that. They don't know these stories. I just learned of them. Yeah. I talked to Chris, I talked to Dad, and they were like, oh, you didn't know that? Chris was like, hey, it's not my story to tell, and you never asked. But like, let's talk about like what was going on when, you know what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah. Well.
07.
So basically the way that I remember it was one day Junior and I and one of our mutual friends were out on the corner of the street by the Cypress Lakes house.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, yeah.
So we're just out on the street. It's really, really late on a Sunday night, and Junior's looking up at the sky, and he's like, I pray to God I could see aliens, you know. And I look to him, and I go, be careful what you wish for.
Ooh.
And he goes, I know exactly what I'm wishing for. And he looked at me, and I was like, okay. And then the way I remember it is, like, I get up and go to school the next day. Maybe some days passed, whatever, but I get up and go to school. I get on the bus from their house. And then when I get off the bus and come home, nobody's there. And I was like, okay.
You got off the bus at their house. Nobody was home.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then I was just like,
where is everybody?
Yeah. You know, like I go in, nobody's there. Like it was just like, for me, I don't know, kind of eerie, because I remember like Alex was there, the parrot, the bird didn't even say nothing to us or to me when I, you know.
R.I.P. to the goat.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was such a
remember
cool.
Alex?
Oh yeah.
So cool.
You know,
make the soda can noises.
Yeah, and the phone ring.
And he would talk in Chris Senior's voice.
Yeah.
All the time.
See, that's how you know their OG's been around. Is they would talk with our parrot.
Yeah. Well, literally, I'd walk in the door and he'd be like, "Hi, Darrick."
Uh-huh.
You know.
Oh, that's so cool.
Super cool African gray. Well, so then like I guess I left and went home, and then I like called, you know, and someone answered, and it was like,
you called who?
I called the house.
The house phone.
He hasn't said this yet, but this is the night of the river.
Right.
No one's there.
Right.
So he calls to say he got a weird vibe when he went and the house was empty.
Yeah, and so then I call, and someone answers and they're like, hello, some like weird voice, and I'm like, hey, is this Ryan? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, is this Miss Yvonne? And they're like, no. And there's like some other voices in the back, like to each other. And then I go like, is this Emily? Because, I couldn't distinguish the voice. Like, is it an adult, a child? Is it someone making a voice to me? I was just confused. So I'm like, is this Emily? It's like, no. And I said, who is this? And then it just hung up. And I was like, so this was the following day after I get off the bus at their house and nobody's there. And I'm with our friend Nick. You remember him?
Oh, yeah, who played guitar.
No, that was Tyler.
That was Tyler.
You're right.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So we Nick was at my house and I was like, yo, this is so weird. We got to go. We got to just go check on them or just see, And so we drove over and I like walk in the house and it's like super quiet. And there's like, they had this computer, the computer table?
Yeah, it was by Alex's cage.
Exactly, right there. So there was this like white fold-out table there, and it had this weird note. It was just like nothing but this table there right before the red room.
Yeah.
Then the note said something like, don't you care if dad is dying in sadness? Yeah. And then it was just like, I don't know, I peeked around and like nobody was in anywhere. And I came out and I was just like, I don't know, just looking around. I went over to Papa Ted's house and no cars there either. So I was just like,
what's going on?
Yeah. And I freaked out and told our friend, we got to go. So I left and I just counted, and about 8 days later is whenever I saw everyone again. I just kept like calling, stopping by until finally. And for me, it was weird because it took months before Junior told me.
Right.
About 2 months, maybe more, before he told me anything about what happened. But I noticed that he was acting funny. Just everything was so different. Everybody was kind of on edge, but it was like I guess I could describe it as feeling like I was on the outside of a big secret, but it was weird also because I had been living there. And then suddenly something changed.
And you have no clue.
I have no clue at this point.
Especially with all the weird phone call and the note and like.
Yeah. And then they finally, whenever Junior told me about it, I believed it. I wasn't just like, oh, you're.
Yeah.
I was just like, why would he make this up? And it sort of dawned on me. I was like, oh, this is why he's been acting so different, And because I had been kind of asking like, what's going on, and then that's when I told him and Dad about
the call
and the note and having stopped by and,
Whoa.
Can you imagine that? Now, granted, I was 13 when this happened, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine how I reacted 2 weeks ago when I heard this story for the first time?
I can't believe that.
Like, I was like, you want to come on the podcast?
Yeah. That's about how it happened.
We're just
in
like
the kitchen.
eating sandwiches.
We're standing there. Yeah, exactly. Lunchtime.
On your lunch break, working on the house. Oh, by the way, I got a weird phone call. Whoa.
Well, yeah, it was weird. And like, I never really talked about it outside of with Junior and Dad, like. How
soon after that, or rather like how far away was it until you started seeing stuff in the sky finally?
Well, so I would say from when I was really young, I had seen like cigar shaped things, but as a kid, I sort of was like, oh, I have a very active imagination.
Like before us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But these are just like, I never really thought much about it, if you know what I'm saying. Like I just saw, I think I've told Junior about this before. One time me and our friend that introduced us were coming home from another friend's house on bikes, and we just saw these like cigar shaped things that were like the colors of clouds, but they kind of multiplied. But it was kind of like just that, And then shortly thereafter, this was, I'm not sure about how much time passed between then and whenever we actually met, but then finally we met, and I guess once Junior opened up to me about it and opened up to our other friends is around the time that I started seeing more things. You know, I didn't see orbs immediately. I remember the first thing I saw was this like pyramid shaped thing
In the sky?
yeah, floating over our friend's house. Yeah.
In Grays Creek.
Yeah, in Grays Creek.
Do you remember what color it was?
It was like kind of like silverish. It was like reflective of whatever was around at nighttime.
Whoa.
Yeah, so Junior and I and two of our other friends went to our one friend's house, and this particular friend was the guy that was with us on the street when Junior said to the sky that he wished he could see aliens, you know?
Yeah.
And the guy was like, okay, I'll be right back. So he ran in the house to pick up something, and he was going to stay with us at the Cypress Lakes house. And when he was in the house is whenever we saw it. And then as he's coming out is whenever it sort of disappeared over the tree line behind us.
And y'all all saw it.
Me and two of our other friends saw it.
Whoa.
I'm trying not to say names.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally understand.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy about that is I had never known all this time because I always knew that Dad went out there the night of the river and prayed and was like, he wasn't, praying to see something. He was praying for his life to be changed. But I never knew that Junior prayed for it too.
Oh, man.
He got what he prayed for.
Oh, definitely.
Wow.
And you know what adds to that? I know that happened exactly as you tell me because when we were little kids, I told this recently on the show. I remember being at our second Gates 4 house, and me and Jeremy and Junior were all just sitting around talking, and I remember us saying like, "What would you ask God when you die?" And Junior was like, "I would ask about aliens."
Oh, wow.
You know, we were always,
Yeah.
as young children, we were always fascinated with something else being out there. And it just adds like a crucial layer to the story that he prayed for that and then he got it.
Yeah.
And you said, be careful what you wish for.
Absolutely.
I never knew that conversation ever happened until a couple weeks ago. And that's something I always say on Junior's episode that we just recently recorded a few weeks back. I mean, I know it just came out. I guess it'll be 2 weeks at this point.
Yeah.
But we recorded it 3 or 4 weeks ago. On that episode, we had I'm pointing because he's in the room. He's right behind the camera. On our episode, I literally said, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Had no idea the whole time that he was the first one who said it. It just all comes full circle, you know?
There are a lot of synchronicities for sure.
Oh, yeah. And
For sure.
the fact that even as kids, before any of this stuff happened, you guys were fascinated by...
We were talking about it, praying for it.
Right. yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Before it ever happened. It's like destiny.
It adds a layer that is you just can't make it up.
Oh, yeah. Of course. It's like it was destined to happen.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. How bizarre.
Yeah.
That's an element to the story. It's just... It's so incredible how, like... Every little detail, it just paints this bigger and bigger, more detailed picture that it all makes more and more and more sense.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And then within a year of this whole thing happening, is when Discovery and MUFON started coming around. So, imagine that's another thing that was like, whoa, like, having these big networks come to the house and, wanting to talk to us and I was even just adjacently there, but still like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'll never forget the first time I saw that. I was in Boston.
Wow.
This was before, like, you guys had even shown it to me, which that would have been like, it came out in 2008, right?
Yeah.
So we were there. Wait, do you remember, like, around when in 2008 it came out?
It was the fall.
Okay.
Like October, November.
So we went, it must have been 2009. It was like springtime. We went to Boston. And so literally like within 6 months of it coming out, we're sitting in Miles's living room eating breakfast. And I look over and it's on TV and I was like, that's my friend's dad. And my whole family was like, what? because they didn't know anything about it at that point.
Yeah.
I think I might have waited until that moment to tell them, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's my friend's dad, and we sat there and watched like the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah, just so bizarre. That was a weird because I knew that it had happened and whatever.
Yeah, you were coming around before it aired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was wild to see it on the TV being played. Like, this is before streaming and all that. It just happened to be on. The TV just happened to be on Discovery. Boom, there it was. I'm eating cereal.
That was back when Netflix was like mailing CDs.
Oh my gosh.
Remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah.
I do remember because Redbox was all the rage.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
My grandparents were the first people who told me about Netflix. They're like, it's awesome. They like send you DVDs and all this stuff, and I was like,
You had
man.
some super hip grandparents.
I know, they were ahead of the curve.
Yeah, they knew what was going on.
Yeah,
Remember GameFly?
Yeah.
You mail the video games?
I never did it.
They always sent me scratched up games. I could play like 45 minutes in, and it would be like, pause.
That's
Yeah.
not okay.
No, it's not.
That's not okay.
I got like 3 games from them, and I cut it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's about what happened.
So we recently were reunited.
Yes.
Because when did you go away?
Oh, like 11 years ago.
Wow.
I left and went to California.
Yeah.
So Darrick, if you don't mind me setting it up for you,
Yeah,
Darrick
sure.
is a very gifted artist. And dude, I remember when we were little kids. I say little, you were 17, I was 13, but that's all little, right? When you're in your 30s.
Definitely kids, for sure.
It's all kids. When I was back then, you guys were grown, but now it's like y'all were 17, man.
Yeah,
y'all were kids.
We were children.
Y'all
We
were
didn't know what
children.
we was doing.
Yeah. But you just would be drawing these just immaculate art pieces, and I remember you would show them to me, and I was just always blown away. And then I guess one thing led to another, and you were pursuing art, and you went to LA. So let's go into some of that, man.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a little wind up. So I, out of high school, went to college for 3D animation and game design.
That's epic.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
That's awesome.
It was pretty cool. So I learned 3D modeling, animation, took film classes. So I learned 2D animation, a little bit like motion graphics, that kind of stuff. Just the gamut. Little bit about music production and recording as well. Then worked in the industry at Funcom for just under a year.
Funcom. What kind of stuff?
Age of Conan.
Oh, no way.
Oh, that's cool.
No way.
The Secret World.
That's wild. I've actually played that game.
Same.
Yeah. Well, I had a lot of fun, mostly game testing, but I did
sick.
GM for like all these different, I did all the languages, GM and just reported a whole bunch of design and functionality issues.
That's so cool.
Then from there, once my contract ended, I moved to California to be closer to video games and never got back into that. I went to designing graphic apparel for like JCPenney and Walmart and stuff like that.
That's
Urban Outfitters.
dope.
I did a few shirts for them, Party City. Then I went to school for cabinet making.
That's a turn.
And then back to design. But ultimately, I landed. And somewhere in there, I was a sign salesman. But then I landed in LA and started working at a shop and started making neon. And that's when my life changed. And I started getting really big projects. One of the first at that shop was Stevie Wonder. I made a neon sign for his...
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Overjoyed is like one of my favorite songs of all time.
It's a great one.
That's the first thing you did at this
one of the first ones.
Do you remember what it was?
It was Stevie Wonder's song party. So he had this event, and like Kelly Rowland was there, and Angela Bassett was there, and all these people. And it was like a 4-foot wide sign with 3/4 inch acrylic backing that we flame polished the edges, and it had like blue, yellow, red, green. Well, not yellow, classic gold.
That's a distinction.
Yeah. But because yellow is a whole different.
Right. Yeah.
But that was great. I was very excited, and ultimately, about 7 months after, I left that shop and sort of just was like, I think I can sell neon on my own. And I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you always been like a bit of a Renaissance man? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can
For
tell.
sure.
Like, you have that artist bug, but some people have a step further where it's like limitless, and it's just like,
That's Darrick.
yeah, it's like, I want to do that, and you just do it, and it just makes sense. And I'm assuming you were feeling like pulled in these directions to do these things.
Yeah, it's crazy because the way that I ended up I moved to LA and I was living with a friend. I met this random friend in San Diego on the beach. And I had at this point, I was wearing a bun because it was at the beach. And this person was like, "Hey, Black Samurai, come over here." So I was like, "Me?" So,
Did you have a sword or?
No, just,
Top bun.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and my hair was much shorter. So I just went over and he was like, "Hey, what's up?" And we just started chilling. Fast forward 3 years later, I ended up moving with him in LA,
Sick.
and that's how, well, oh my gosh, so funny. Basically living with him, I ended up meeting like Dave Chappelle and all these other people. Yeah, in the heart of Hollywood, and sort of it just kind of goes on.
You met Dave Chappelle?
Yeah, he was like the nicest person ever. So nice.
I've always like hoped that he would be like a genuinely kind person,
Nicer than you even imagine.
because he seems, you see him do his act, and you see like comedians do their act, and you often wonder like, is this them? How much of them is even in this act or whatever? But he always just seems so sincere and genuine, and it's cool to hear.
I think he's even nicer when you talk to him than he is on stage, because his jokes could come across as harsh to some people sometimes.
For sure.
He's super nice.
It's an act.
Yeah. And I mean, it is like true to form in a way, because he's not like. There's a line you draw when something is a joke and when it's reality.
For sure.
Right.
For
and
sure.
we all do it with our friends, but then when it's a public figure, people look at different,
Yes.
Right. But he's just as sweet and genuine as you could imagine. Probably more.
Awesome.
I forgot to say this. Darrick did one of the original renditions of The Beings, like sketches.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't have it on me, but
You did.
I did way back before leaving for California, before anything. We did. Junior and Dad explained to me sort of what a craft and a being looked like, and I drew them, and that's what Discovery used.
That's what was on the Discovery.
Yeah,
It was?
they modeled it, based off
they
his
did
drawings.
a 3D model, and then funny. After that, I went to school for 3D modeling, and I didn't even put those two things together until later. But yeah,
Talk about synchronicity.
exactly.
Isn't that wild? He's
Yeah.
just like probably 18 at this point.
Mhm.
He's drawing, it's like a sketch artist, right? Like
Yeah.
you're describing something, he's sketching it out, and then Discovery Channel goes and renders it. It's like you were meant to go to LA and do what you did. You have that. I've told you this.
Yeah, you have.
You have that. You have that manifesting trait. He's being humble,
thank you.
dude. I mean, he's being really humble. We're talking like selling neon for the biggest stars in the world. I mean, let's name a few. Justin Bieber,
Yeah, I sold some neon to Justin.
Doja Cat.
For Doja, I did a costume for her MTV VMA award show, the one that was the first show after pandemic. So it was like,
That wasn't the one where she did like the metal cover of Say So, was it?
you
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't think was she okay. It's the one where she's wearing all pink and it's like scales.
Okay,
and she's
it wasn't
got
that
this
one.
long green hair. Okay,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You made that costume?
I worked on it. Yeah, so I did the scales.
Are you kidding?
You
That
ever
was
heard of-
iconic.
Well, first of all, I'm glad you liked it. Second of all, Asher was the designer. I work at his studio, Asher Levine, and I'm one of his head designers and fabricators. So, he has me come on and do any of his vinyl stuff and a lot of,
He did the costume for Shinigami Eyes.
I did those scales too. That one was brutal.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean brutal? It was like difficult?
Dude, Well, those were probably the most scales I had ever put on anything.
Damn.
It was a lot of like, because he used some really cool like algorithm to create, to make the scales mathematically. I can't really describe it to you. You got to look at it and just know that it's some math behind it. It's not just drawn.
Yeah.
Like the Doja scales we drew by hand, every single one, which was like thousands and thousands, and then cut it out. And then, and I can show you the footage from behind the scenes later. Oh. But then with Shinigami Eyes, it was all, I don't know. It's geometric. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. And we were talking the other day, and we were just talking about some of the stuff that you had done. No, we weren't even talking about some of the stuff that you had done. We were talking about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did their I designed the neon sign to cut that for their podcast.
Oh, did you? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was cool. I can show you stuff later.
Derrick offered to make us neon for the new studio, and I'm like, can we afford you?
Yes.
It's worth it. Every penny.
Absolutely it is.
We got to have the pennies, man.
we're family. We can find the pennies.
We're going to scrounge them up because that's got to happen. I can't believe that. I am like obsessed with their podcast, and I look at that neon sign like all the time.
That's so you've been looking at my work this whole time.
Didn't even know it.
Oh, dude, everybody listening to the show too, like with it's so funny, man. It's ironic like how the 3D render on that thing was based on your drawing.
Yeah.
And millions of people around the world seeing your work, on all these A-list celebrities, whatever. It's crazy, man.
It's crazy to me to think because, I know a lot of people go out west and they end up on the street. Or they end up being these street performers in dirty costumes,
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, but it's true.
Yeah,
though,
it is true.
And people go out there in search of a dream, and sort of the way it happened is I was living in San Diego and just kept getting gigs in LA, and I was staying there during the week and going back to San Diego at the weekend, and eventually I was just like, I'm just gonna go over, and my friend was like, yeah, come stay with me, just cook. And I was like, I can do that. I can definitely do that. And then within 2 weeks is whenever I ended up, within 2 weeks is when I ended up meeting Dave, and things just kind of.
He was your entry point.
Yeah. And
for all this work.
The last thing he said, he was like, I'm sure I'll see you again, and I was just like, whoa, this person's so nice. I just got hugged by like the angel of comedy. What in the world?
The angel of comedy.
Yeah, well, to me, he's so funny. So funny.
He was explaining to me just Darrick stories. He was explaining to me how being in Mariah Carey's mansion was being in like, what was it, like 5 houses in one,
like a
you
Vegas hotel.
You get lost in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said it was a 12-course meal.
Huh?
Right?
Like 3 of them.
3 12-course meals,
and it was all
there
night.
12 hours.
Oh my!
I was there from 6 p.m. one night to 6 a.m. So what happened was like. And mind you, this is really cool. Like the production people there, I'm like super tight with, and we work together. They bring me on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so basically,
hey, come over, let's hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so basically, they called me last minute and was like, my homie was like, and they call me Deshaun. That's my middle name, Deshaun or Neon Poppy. That's my Instagram.
I like that.
Yeah, so they call me and I'm like, hello, because I don't normally get a call from this number. And he's like, yo, Deshaun, you still make neon, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, good. So Mariah needs a neon in 2 days. Can you do it? And I was like, send me the artwork. And they were like, okay, we'll get it to you right away. So they got it to me right away. I gave them pricing, and they were like, yeah, we need it. So I just had to stop what I was doing in the middle of the day, start producing it, then had them deliver it to me. Or no, I'm sorry. I had them come pick it up from me from my house. Mm-hmm. And because, I love my signs so much. They're art pieces for me. And it was the word butterfly is her handwriting. So I had to like capture that. Anyway, I wanted to have it in my house for a little bit. So I had them come get it. And then I got a text message and it was like, Mariah and her production request that you be here. And I was like, okay. And they were like, can you make that happen? And I was like, yeah. But then, they weren't getting back to me. So I was like, what should I wear? What should I do? And I was freaking out, just like sitting in my house, like walking in circles. And they were like, just come. And I was like, oh my God. So I just threw on an outfit, showed up, and it turned out, because I was living in Hollywood, she was only like 11 minutes from my house, her house. So, but I lived in the ghetto though, like Hollywood Boulevard. That's like, you know what I'm saying? That's not the nice area. So, but so you pull up, and like you can't drive to her house. You have to drive to the bottom of the mountain, and she sends a shuttle down.
Dang.
To pick you up.
What?
Yeah, and then she drove us up there, and then
was it on like Neverland level? Like
no,
like okay, because that's what I'm imagining.
This is her small house.
Oh, okay.
Which still takes like 5 minutes to get from the front door to the back house when you walk through. Like it takes a while. You have to walk past the pool.
House.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, she is Mariah Carey.
And she's amazing. She's super sweet. Like people think she's like such a maybe I don't know. People think she's such a diva. Like she's so nice. I don't know.
I've heard that. I've heard the
sweet.
reputation that like the whole diva thing, but she's
good. Acting.
Yeah,
Because that's what people. I don't know. To me, that's what people expect of her. So she's like making fun of the idea, right? But in person, she's like, "Are you comfortable? Do you like how everything's going?
Aww.
How's the performance?" And I'm like, "You're asking me how I think of your singing?" And Kirk Franklin was there.
The performance, she sang for everybody?
Oh, she did a music video. Her last music video shoot was at one of her houses, and
Whoa.
we did that. We made it snow in her backyard.
Oh, so your sign was for the music video?
Yeah, but it was for the music video, but she's always had a love for neon. She's had neon made on a grand scale, but never kept one for herself. So my neon is the first piece she ever collected.
Come on.
It's in the mantelpiece in her back house with all of her platinum plaques and stuff. Actually,
hey, you see that right there?
Oh yeah,
we ordered it online for our wedding.
I figured that, and I love it actually.
It looks good.
It does.
It was just some European company.
Yeah, this stuff is getting so popular because it's more affordable. I love that they did the silhouette backer. That's something that I always do. It costs a little bit more, but it makes your piece look unique and instead of doing like a straight black backer. But just wait. You'll see what I do. I'm gonna hook it up.
Oh my God, I cannot wait. Are you kidding me?
That's gonna go crazy, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
So or rather, what is your favorite piece you've done, or who was the celebrity or whatever? Your best experience?
Man, that's so hard. Because there are so many that I love. Like, probably. Okay, so I did this thing for Peter Dundas, and he is a fashion designer, and he did all of the gowns that Beyonce wore during her pregnancy at the award ceremony. So there's this one where she's wearing this like all red sequin thing, and she's got the baby bump. He did that one, and he did this I think he did the one where she did the performance where she leaned back in the chair with when she was pregnant with the twins. So anyway, this guy, this was one of the first. It's technically channel letters, right? But they're these like 5'2" tall individual standing anodized gold aluminum letters with the faces like parts routed out for the faces with acrylic sign white, which is kind of like a frosty white acrylic on the inside, and then it's self-contained. Each letter has battery packs and they light up. So that was my favorite because that's when I realized I kind of had a knack for this thing, because it was like
when you're working for Beyonce, that's when you realize that you have a knack for it.
Well, okay, so she was at the party, but it wasn't, and they did say, "Oh, it's a party for Beyonce." That's how they said it, but it was for the Peter Dundas. It was for him.
Yeah.
And basically getting the acrylic faces on the inside of the letter, they chose a very specific font, and I had to take that font with very fine strokes and blow it up to 5 foot each letter, you know.
Whoa.
And then I had to make it self-contained, and then there was like an eighth of an inch gap between the inside of the letter and the edge of the acrylic, so just so we could put silicone in there enough to hold it in place. It was just like little details, like little intricacies like that. It took me like a day and a half to figure out the right battery pack that would last like 2 or 3 hours, you know, because they had to keep changing the batteries every night, or every few hours in the night of the party.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a hassle, but it was fun.
So you've said your Instagram handle, so that means I'm allowed to.
Yeah.
So his Instagram is Neon Poppy. If you find any of this ludicrous or hard to believe, just go peep.
It's all there.
It's all there. It's all crazy. And you know, we've known you the whole time. Not that was ever a question, but people out there hearing this being like, what? Come on, man. He's capping. No. It's all real. It's all really there. And very clearly in the 11 or 12 years that you were in LA, you flourished and you came from like humble, you know, small town, Grays Creek living to going and, you know, touching the stars in LA. It's pretty amazing. And then you came home.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I you know, I guess going to LA was a very good test of my mettle because I, you know, growing up, you guys and people have always been like, "Oh, you're talented," you know, but I hadn't yet come face to face with that for myself. I knew I could draw, but I was just like, okay, but people can draw though. And I know I could backflip, but I'm like, okay, but people be backflipping, you know. But then I guess I felt like there was something, God has something specifically for me because, you know, 100% of the time that I worked in LA, all of my projects were for entertainment. It was never, you know, I didn't even get to touch mom and pop shops. You know, it was all that. And so I got to see who I am in terms of what I'm capable of. You mentioned manifesting before. I think like all I did was sit around as a kid and draw celebrities, you know, like
really
for a long period I was drawing, you know, Beyonce's and Rihanna's and
that's so cool.
Performances.
You did manifest that.
I think so. But I wasn't aware. And then I realized, you know, I needed home, I need family. Things get tough at a certain period because business slows down and, you know, LA's expensive and
COVID happened and Hollywood shut down.
Exactly.
And with all the strikes. It was just all perfect timing for his business.
Yeah, to take a hit. So I just I came back and I'm very happy. I've been back 6 months and I feel like I know now, I guess, what I'm made of, and now I'm coming back to who I am.
Right.
You know, and
your core.
My core, exactly. You know, I don't know, biscuits. You know what I'm saying?
You missed the biscuits?
That's what every time people would be like, you must miss the South. I say, I miss biscuits. I really do. So, but, and you know, coming back to, I feel like I'm making up for lost time, you know, getting to spend time with you guys. I get to see y'all every day now, every day. And
it's been nice.
It's been amazing.
That's so
we've had like 12 years of catching up to do. And, you know, he's been living with us for a month too. So it's been great. It's like, I don't know.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just shocked because you just out of nowhere, I get a call from mom or dad and they're like, Darrick's coming home. And I'm like, what? That's awesome. And they're like, he's living with Chris Jr. And it's like, what? So like you're coming to Thanksgiving. I'm not sure if you came to Christmas.
I was around. Yeah, I was at Christmas at Junior's house after.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right. And we've just been like really catching up, and it's been awesome. But I brought this up to say, since you've been home in the last 6 months, the orbs have been off the charts.
Oh yeah.
Weren't you out there with me the night of the Thanksgiving party?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Let's tell that, man.
Well, actually, I missed it by 1 second because I was making a coffee. And Dad was like, come outside. And you and Dad went outside.
We were at our Aunt Julie's.
Right. Yeah, at Julie's. Oh, Julie.
And there was a party, a Thanksgiving party. It was like, it wasn't Thanksgiving Day. We don't usually do it there, but it was like I don't know, day before or something. It doesn't matter, but it was our Thanksgiving party. And there's 20 or 30 people there. And Dad comes up to me in the crowd, and he's just like, we got to go out right now. I feel him right now. And me and Dad go outside, and poof, an orb appears. And then next thing I know, Darrick's walking up behind us. And then I feel like there was another one, wasn't there?
I missed both of them at that night, but continue.
Well, that was it. I just remember you being there. We walk out, and you're just right there. Like
I walked out right at the end, and Dad was like, "I told you to come." And I was like, "I'm sorry, my coffee was pouring." Right in that moment. But since then, there have been a lot of other. Actually, on January 8th
of 2024
of this year, Junior and I were working on a house on Marsh Road, which Marsh Road is the rivers like off that road where the event actually happened.
Yeah.
And we stepped outside for lunch, and we looked up and we saw, a pill.
Like one of the kind of oblong ones.
Yeah, or it was like, it looked round, kind of oblong, but it was just crazy because it was just tracking through the sky. And then one of our other guys that works with us came up and was like, what is that? And then we look over and we're like, well, there's a plane right there, so.
That's always the comparison point. I do that too. I'll and somehow almost every time I see an orb, there's also a plane somewhere in the sky. It's
just so you can compare.
It is like
exactly
that.
Just like, I want you to know that that's not what I am.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
It does feel like that. And then the night of the eclipse.
Oh, right.
Was it the night of the eclipse?
Or
the night after?
It was no. No, it wasn't the night of, Chris. Chris shaking his head. Chris saw an orb during the daytime, during the eclipse.
Right.
He did. Junior did. He saw an orb in the sky while the eclipse was happening. Remember, he just always sees them during the day.
Yeah.
Right.
He just always has. And also, before we breeze past it, I want to say how freaking synchronistic and ironic it is that you were there with him January 8th of 2024.
Right.
At the original place. Because you lived with us and were coming around when it originally began.
Right.
You're gone for 12 years. And then you're with him the day of, and boom, you guys saw it. I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
But yes, it was the day of the eclipse. Junior saw, he saw it during the day, and then it was Tuesday night.
Right.
We were outside.
Right.
And
was that like triangle?
Yes.
Okay.
Darrick,
yeah, we just walked out I guess, I don't know, the end of the day.
Dad and I were leaving, and y'all were walking us out to the car.
Yeah. And then we just happened to walk out and look up, and it was like right there, orange orb, and it was moving kind of slow. Then when we started looking at it, it started moving, like barreling a lot faster. And so we're all going up with our cameras, trying to zoom in and watch it. And then it slows down again, coming over us, and then it just goes over behind us in the sky.
Now, in the video, it looked like it was blinking, but it wasn't, right?
It wasn't blinking. It looks like there's some like energy field or something moving around whatever is at the core of it.
Yeah, when I saw the video, I asked Ryan, like, is it actually doing that, or is it just the video? And Ryan was like, oh no, it's doing that. It was we saw that with our eyes, and it was doing that weird
undulating thing.
Yes, it was like kind of like it was surrounded by energy, and it was kind of moving.
That's how it feels to me, because it looks like there is like a pyramid thing in the center.
Yeah,
but then there's this interference.
Yeah,
It
was wild, man. Right. I also wanted to ask, because you were there at the Azalea Festival.
Yes.
I showed up after you were gone, but what was that experience like for you after all these years being away?
First of all, it was amazing. The scenery was beautiful. It was, I will tell you, it warmed my heart to see the beautiful responses of all of the people. I think the community that are surrounding this event, this phenomena, is a very open, very warm and welcoming community, and it just made me feel good to see something positive, because I know that when everything originally started, it was so difficult on the family.
Yeah.
You remember I said the exact same thing on the and I couldn't agree more. you know, we've been with y'all for, I mean,
Ever. A
for
lifetime.
more than half our lives.
Yeah.
And so we were there at the beginning when it was dark and scary and negative, and that festival, seeing all of those people hugging on y'all and talking to y'all and supporting you, and like I felt like there was like this piece that just like clicked in me that was just like I needed to see that for such a long time.
And it's important to me to recognize that there are more people connected to the spirit. You know?
Right.
Like this
phenomenon.
Yeah.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. Like hearing those stories of similar things and hearing people inspired by your dad sharing the story, you know, and how it's like brought their families together, and it was just so beautiful.
And how they've had similar or their own unique experiences, you know.
Absolutely.
And I think it's very important where like to have a community of people to understand you and, you know, at least feel where you're coming from. You know, I think it can be this type of experience, I believe, was very alienating for you guys for a very long time. And I remember, you know, in the beginning, you wouldn't even tell me for a long time. And you were saying, like, you're not going to believe me, you know, and it took a long time. And so I guess seeing the other side of it where, like, you know, I guess the dad can actually talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And Junior.
Yeah.
You know? Because Junior used to get upset. Dad would bring it up. We'd be all chilling in the red room.
I remember.
And he would not like it.
He would leave.
Yeah.
Right. Always. I remember.
Mad.
Yeah, I remember.
Sorry. But,
no, I remember. You're right. That is how it was.
That's trauma.
That's
PTSD.
Yeah.
That's hurt.
And look at him now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
thriving.
exactly. Like, what's the word? Like, comfortable, acclimated or something, you know.
Embracing.
Yeah.
Accepting.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's cool. It's really cool. And, but, you know, I would say, yeah, I'm very, very glad to see where things are going.
It feels like a different timeline. It feels like the positive timeline.
Yeah.
Like there's been like a shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is, Junior said this in his episode that he felt like he had to go through the difficult part in order to get to this part. You know, I guess you could say a common phrase. People say you can't have a testimony without a test. You know.
Absolutely. I say you can't have good days without having bad days. It's which is like a microcosm of that. But
it's all in the same universe.
I feel like that is almost the purpose of this like physical material realm.
Right.
Is because like why else would all of this exist, right? It's like before all of this, there was some infinite energy out there that was like, okay, well, what is this all for? What does it all mean if if there's just this big ball of energy in the sky and that's it and whatever? Well, let's throw some stuff together. Let's bang some stuff together and, create these beings that can go through these trials and tests and tribulations and learn to appreciate the beauty.
Yeah.
And the love and because without something to compare it against, you don't really know what you have.
Right. And to learn that we're not so different.
Not at all.
And we're all necessary.
This is going to sound silly, but isn't food so much better when you're hungry?
Yeah.
Preach, Ryan.
You know what I'm saying?
Preach,
Amen.
Ryan.
Like, it sounds silly, but it's the same point. Like, I totally agree.
No, it's true. Like a starving man who hasn't eaten in weeks would eat a cucumber and think it tastes like cotton candy.
And weep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. It's like it's the test. It's going through, and because when you're on the other side of it, you can look back and see where you came from, and that's when the gratitude can fully like anchor in.
Oh, absolutely.
And like you can look back and say, oh my God, I made it out of that.
Yeah.
I made it through that.
I feel like that when it comes to coming back here.
Yeah, you must feel like you lived multiple lives.
Yeah, I feel like a war hero in a way.
Really?
Yeah, because it was tough. You know, like, being called at the last minute, to come up with a project. It's 11 p.m. or whatever, But, coming back, being welcomed and embraced, it's like
That's
that
true.
Full circle.
It's like a parallel.
Yeah.
You went on your own hero's journey,
Mm-hmm.
and you're back at the core.
Yeah.
You have. Do you feel like coming back now? Do you feel like you may have a deeper appreciation for like the family that you found?
Yeah. The thing is, we always stayed in contact in some way. It was never like
You would come back every now and then.
I came back once.
Yeah.
And
I remember the once.
Yeah, and that was cool. We there's actually me, mom, and dad were painting.
That's special.
It was really, really nice. And this was actually before I started painting like seriously, which only happened. I never thought I was a good painter, but 2 years ago I was like, oh, I guess maybe I can do this. But yeah, we used to paint together. Me and mom used to make bracelets and stuff,
That's awesome.
So it was really cool coming back to like that, just wholesome, like
slow things down a little bit.
a lot of it.
Yeah.
A whole lot.
Yeah.
I'm about to crack your head open with some good news here, and this is all just talking. It's not. It's up to them, but
Okay.
no, I'm telling him. This is about you.
Oh.
Oh, you about to crack my head open?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me prepare.
I'm planting seeds. I'm pulling strings.
You're scheming.
But oh yeah,
You're scheming.
Yeah, I love scheming.
Right.
I'm trying really hard to convince everybody to come to Wilmington.
Who's everybody?
Everybody I know. My mom, my dad, Junior,
Well,
Darrick. Emily's already said she wants to end up here when she's done with Florida. Darrick's like, look, wherever Junior goes, I'm going.
Pretty much, I'm convinced.
Come on.
They love it here. They've been
You know.
living here 4 weeks now. They're like, it's pretty cool.
It's hitting.
It's a cool place.
I like being. It's cool actually because I lived only 20 minutes from the beach in LA, but here we're like 6 minutes.
Uh-huh.
One direction, 11 minutes the other direction, something like that. So it's so nice just being in the vicinity of the ocean because the smell of the air.
I agree.
You
Dude,
know?
I walk out of my apartment sometimes and I'm like,
Dude, just it's different here.
the salty
I tease
air.
Alex all the time.
No, Nick, do you remember when I brought that up to you when we were moving you in?
Did you?
Yeah, I was like,
That
dude,
was the
I
most
cannot,
chaotic day ever. So
No, but I was
I'm
like,
sorry.
man, I cannot wait till this like salt air gets on you and gets in you, and
It's,
like
it's in
I
me,
want
it's
to.
on me, it's everywhere.
Yeah, I want to document like everything that happens
I
to
need a
you
fan.
because of it.
Dude.
You know what I mean?
I keep teasing Alex, man. He's like, he doesn't realize how lucky he was to be born here and grow up here.
Yeah, bro.
Just not even here, just like near the beach.
Oh my god.
yeah.
But here too.
You want to hear
Yeah,
something
for sure.
funny? So at my new job, I interact with new people every single day, and so while I'm working on their computers or whatever, we make small talk. Are you from here? Almost everybody is from here,
Right.
And oh yeah, most of the people.
Really?
Yeah,
The people that you talk to?
well, these are people that work for the company that I work for.
Wow.
And
So they all work there. Because it's, dude, I never run into. I mean, I will say though, people who have lived here 20 years say that they're like live here.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
nah, they don't.
Dude.
They're not born here.
Oh, dude.
You know.
So many people. And the funniest part is when they ask me where I'm from, the reaction is always the exact same. I say, oh, I'm from Fayetteville. And they go, oh.
It ain't that bad.
And they always say, Vietnam. Every single time.
That's
you know
real,
what's
though.
you know what's funny? I say it ain't that bad. I say that every
Yeah.
single time because it really wasn't.
You get used to like a symphony of bullets from, as the background of your life.
Yeah,
You get
dude.
Fort Bragg, the
Yes,
artillery rounds.
yeah.
You just get, or like people hunting or shooting because.
Or gang violence and that kind of
but
stuff.
but if you're not in the way of that,
Exactly. Then
you
who
know what I'm
cares?
saying? Right.
And when you hear it, you always just tell yourself it's Fort Bragg, and
Yeah,
and then then you're fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like no place is that dangerous if you avoid danger.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And one of these people that I was talking to was like, before I said that I was from Fayetteville, she was like, I heard a gunshot last night near my house, and I was horrified. And I was like, lady.
Horrified?
I was like, lady.
Right. You ain't made a...
Yeah, that was like, I mean, if a day went by where I didn't hear guns, it was strange.
Yeah, you would notice it.
I'm sad to say I know several people that were killed in gun violence from Fayetteville.
It's sadly...
We
it
all
is
do here,
sadly
except
the truth.
Alex.
It's sadly the
Not
truth.
that I'm gonna name anybody, but you know.
Right.
Yeah, well, I stay home.
Yeah, right.
You know, I don't
Yeah.
be in them streets.
Right. You
You
stay
making
indoors.
neons.
I ain't seen exactly
Yes.
in the studio.
Do you love that John Mayer song, Neon? Do you know it?
No.
Oh, I'm going to show you.
Okay.
It is one of the greatest songs ever written.
Okay. Cool.
Was that
I'm
a
with
corny
it.
question that I just asked? Because
No.
Okay, it was. Okay.
Oh, is it? I thought it was cool. I like when people talk to me about anything relative to neon or says neon. 'Cause
Dude.
it's been such a big part of my life.
The chorus is she's always buzzing just like neon.
I don't.
Neon buzzes when it's overpowered.
So then maybe not such a good thing.
Oh no, that was just a nerdy. You know, he
like
wouldn't
that.
know that. He
Right,
just be like,
right,
oh,
right.
neon buzzes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember if we actually said this on the show or not. I brought it up before we recorded, but like, let's just talk about the irony of like how you are our last guest. I assume, right? We don't have
Yeah.
anybody booked,
Right.
you know, and you just happen to be here, living here,
Right.
at the house. But how crazy is it that you're our last guest in the old studio and you're helping us build the new one?
It is really ironic.
It's wild, right?
I like it. I like it a lot.
That's
Yeah.
poetic.
It is
It
poetic.
is.
And then the eclipse just happened. You know, new era, new time.
Yeah.
You know, welcome to the new, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, exciting things to look forward to.
A lot of exciting things.
Yeah.
You know.
I had a mind-blowing thought yesterday. Well, it was mind-blowing to me. It's not going to be mind-blowing to anybody else. But I was just thinking about it. It's like, I mean, you all were there. Y'all weren't there Sunday night, you and Junior, but y'all were there at the Azalea Festival. You saw the response. I don't know if you were there Saturday. People were seeing orbs during the day and stuff.
You were there Saturday.
I was there Saturday.
Yeah.
But like while people were seeing stuff,
I didn't
I
see
wasn't
it.
there. So
It
I
was
don't know.
during the day. You came through during the day.
In the morning
Right.
until like 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go.
Well, you saw how the people were. You saw the positivity and the energy and just the vibe of the whole thing. And then I was just thinking about it, and it's like Sunday night. I mean, Nick, you were there. Alex, you were there. The spectacular light show we had, and the thought that came to me yesterday that kind of blew my mind, and particularly thinking about Paul. You know, Paul Oglesby. Shout out to junior and senior.
Oh yeah.
You guys were telling me that like him reading, he had experiences, wild experiences with orbs and different entities.
And a lady.
Yeah, and exactly. And what got him through it to where he came out on the other side and realized, or, you know, rather his son was able to bond with him as they read our book, and they're like, "Oh my God, we're not crazy." Or for
Wow.
Paul, you know, Dad's not crazy. So I had this mind-blowing thought yesterday. I was like, dang, dude, 70 people out there on the beach seeing this spectacular light show with us. And I realized, like, dude, we have hundreds of hours of content that we're putting out on our little show, prepping people for these moments to not only connect with what they're seeing, but, like, realize what they're seeing. It's like sometimes I think that gets lost in the woodwork. We don't realize the impact of what we're doing. You know, we have people coming to us being like, I read your book, I listened to your podcast, I know I'm not crazy, I know I'm not alone, I'm seeing things. And it's like we really don't realize sometimes exactly what we're doing, and it's helping people.
Absolutely. It's bringing people together in something that they're too afraid to talk about with sometimes their friends or their family,
Right.
their coworkers, you know.
Yeah. And one of the really special things about everybody being out there and watching with your dad is he is just so incredible at explaining to everyone around what they are seeing, why they are seeing it, and how to continue seeing it.
Right.
He always hits those every single time. I've heard him say so many times while we're with people seeing things, like, you can see this. You can see this at home. They're always there.
Yeah.
They're always there. Like,
I don't know
can
if
see
you
this.
tracked the Azalea Fest tab in the Discord lately, because it's been popping off, and we all have to go back to our normal lives and work, and we get busy. But
You
dude,
talking hitchhikers?
yeah, I mean, so many people have gone home from that night and have been seeing daily now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like they see it, and then next thing you know, it's like they go home, and it's like they don't stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I don't even know what to say. You know, they're welcome into it or something. You know, but I think it's just that's really important. I think it is a spiritual thing. You know, a very much a spiritual experience when you get to, you know, see something. I want to put this into these terms delicately. When you get to witness something greater than yourself, you know, it's always a very powerful experience, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like to behold something like that. Like that is something that is both part of me but also bigger than me.
Yeah.
It's that like connection.
We're all a part of it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it started with Dad, it started with Junior, but like it's for everybody. You know, like I think people sometimes, or at least in the past, they classified us as like, you know, I don't know how to say it, but like I don't even know what to say, but the point is, it's for everybody. Like we're sharing it, but like everybody who sees it with us. I get this message all the time, or rather Dad does. Like people go out every night, they want to see it, then they read the book or they listen to the podcast, or you know the few, I say few, it's like hundreds at this point, who have come and seen it with us in person. All of a sudden they go home and they're seeing it now regularly. It's like once you have that initial charge, it's like you're activated, and
Right.
you know they're seeing it. It's for everybody. We don't do anything special. We're not. We just go out there and pray, and we believe a certain way, and poof, and then people see it, and it's like they're initiated into that connection, and now poof. I mean, who knows how many people out there who are seeing it now?
Oh yeah.
Right.
I mean, yeah, look at my sister and her kids. Like
Exactly.
It was like immediately after
Your dad.
Yeah. Immediately after we all went over and saw those incredible lights, like the next night they were texting me, "Oh my gosh, we see him in our yard right now." Like
I guess a way I could put it is it's like the beings they don't only care about us. They're not only coming for us. You know what I mean? It's for everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
it's like a phenomenon of the human spirit.
Yeah.
It is the infinite spirit that we all come from.
Yeah.
It's one and the same. It's for everybody.
It's for everybody. Yeah.
Definitely for everybody.
E for everyone.
Also, how about we just glossed over like when he was telling his story in the beginning, and it's a very jarring story about how he called the house and someone answered. Hello. The night of the river, he calls the house and a freaking entity answers the phone. Like, come on. Like, we didn't say what it was, but how wild is that?
It's the same thing.
Like nobody was there. You know,
Nobody was there, and then left a note. I mean, there's a laundry list of crazy stuff like that's happened.
And the writing was so crazy on that note. It was just like, I don't know. I haven't seen any writing like that before.
I think Dad told me Mom still has the note.
Really?
What?
Does she? You know what? I bet she does.
I bet you she does.
Knowing Mom, I bet she's got it.
Got that in a box somewhere.
Mind blowing. I forgot to ask, man. Do you want to? It's up to you, but do you want to go into your fascination with Egypt and hieroglyphs and those things? The dream you had.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, okay. So you guys will see this if you go to my Insta, but so
Neon
in LA,
Poppy.
that's right. Neon period by PAPI.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
So, in LA, one day I went to sleep, and I'm a person who has interrupted sleep kind of, and I tend to wake up very early, like always.
He's literally waking up at 4 every day. He's here.
Yeah.
Like that early?
Yeah.
All the time?
I get up and then go to the gym for an hour and a half, and then come and work.
Whoa. You go to the gym before doing construction work?
Mm-hmm.
That's hardcore.
It's pretty. I mean, that's what I do every day, right?
That's hardcore.
You've seen me a month, you know, but it's just the way it works.
Yeah.
But so I woke up and I had this crazy dream, and in my dream I was just seeing images of a hieroglyph of the Isis, the goddess Isis.
Whoa.
And so I got up and was like, I remember it was like 3:45, and I was like, I just got to research this. So I started typing, just looking up pictures and then looking up hieroglyphic tablets and then starting to translate them. And then there was this one that I found, and it said something like "Nukperame namiyab kishta teta," something like that. And I said the words, and when I said the incantation, it sort of like the lights went off in my house. Yeah, and I was like, "What?" I freaked out, right? So I got up and was like, "Yo, this is crazy." And I was like pacing, just thinking about it, and so basically just the spirit of her came in my dream, and I sat down and I was like, all right, I'm gonna make a clothing line dedicated to her. It was the beginning of pandemic, and I had money and time and no work, and I was just in the house. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get all this equipment. And so I made an apparel collection with a tablet of hieroglyphs, and it's the original hieroglyphs, and it is a prayer to the goddess Isis, asking for her magic, love, protection, and wisdom, right? So I came up with a bunch of pieces. There's like the hoodie, where like the centerpiece, which is Isis, actually glows in the dark. The black one glows green, and the white one glows blue, and they have like green and gold or blue and green sort of holographic. And a bag and some pants and yada yada. I dropped the line, and within 24 hours it had sold $1,000. Yeah. And I was like, what? And literally I just typed on Facebook like, I'm releasing a collection, and I thought it was a vanity project. I was just like, nobody's gonna buy this. I'm just keeping myself busy.
I'd buy it in a heartbeat.
I'll show you the pieces, and once I get my setup back together, because I don't have space for all my machinery right now, but once I have it in the order of operations types thing, I'm gonna start. I'll make you guys special
I'm not trying to be
edition.
greedy, but you promised me
money
one.
for it.
I have, and I'm gonna do it. You know,
I will pay money for it.
I still have all the material. I just got to get your sizes
and my money.
You know what's a shame, man? He's been wearing one of those hieroglyphic shirts on the job, and you just got paint on it, didn't you?
I did, and I thought that was a very perfect full circle moment. Because,
oh, really?
Yeah, because I had been wearing it. I wore that hieroglyphic shirt on the job, this last 6 months. Not every day, obviously, but here and there I'd wear it.
Yeah.
Try to protect it, but I'd wear it. Never got even so much as a drop of paint or anything on it.
Whoa.
And then on this job, I got paint all splattered all over the front. And I was like, that means it's time for me to remake these, because that was the last copy of that black on black Isis tee that I had.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
So it was like a sign.
Yeah. Now all of the pieces from that collection that I kept for myself are ruined, so I have to make more.
You have to.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet.
I gotta see that.
I'm gonna show you.
That
I'll show you
sounds
right after.
so sick.
Thank you. I'm very proud of it. My friends in LA, they're texting me all the time that like people are asking me about the hoodie, they want it, and I'm like, so much work to make it.
Yeah,
I pulled the line because I was making everything by myself, and it was a very complex thing. So I never thought that people were gonna be buying my. Can I say numbers?
Oh
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Like I was like, oh, this is stupid. Nobody's gonna buy my $75 t-shirts. And my
give me that.
$150 hoodies.
Give
That's
me
what I
that.
was thinking in the moment, and then I dropped it.
But if you look around, like for good quality clothing, and B, custom designs from an incredible designer. No, I'm not gonna let you be humble the whole time.
I mean,
I might have to hit you with it. People, you see, that is a fairly normal price for that sort of thing. You know that doesn't seem exorbitant.
He's also pressing it all by hand.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. That's worth every penny.
I think it was, but it was exhausting, so I had to stop.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was a
But I'm
lot.
gonna release another collection that's I'm bringing the fabrication down a tier and then bringing the art up a tier.
Ooh.
So it's going to be a nice trade-off, but the same brand.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I will be waiting patiently
I can't wait to
in line.
drip it on the show, man.
Yeah,
are you
it's coming
kidding me?
soon. Just wait. Just wait.
Wait on it.
Yeah,
Not very much longer either, you know.
that's exciting, man.
Oh, that's so cool.
I feel like this has just been a fantastic conversation.
It
I
also
agree.
flew by. I
Yeah.
can't believe
Wow.
that it's already been over an hour.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, both
Oh
you
my
guys.
God. Are you kidding me?
And
Come back on anytime.
Well, I'm here now, and I'm so proud of y'all for
thank
like
you,
this is
man.
awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's
the new
fun.
studio setup is gonna look so dope.
He was
Thanks to
helping
you.
pick the colors.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
up in there.
Yeah.
You know,
We went over there to kind of like look at some different colors and kind of make decisions. And as soon as you stepped in and started giving your input, I was like, oh my God, he's right. Everything that he said, I was like, oh, that would be sick.
Yep.
Like your input was
A little bit of
instrumental.
his love is gonna forever be in the studio.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right. Hey, you know, I've seen a lot of sets.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah. You have
So,
experience.
a little bit.
Yeah, you were out there for a long time. You have experience. It shows. And
Well,
we're proud of you.
thank
I am very proud of you.
Absolutely.
you.
I'm
I
glad you're
appreciate it.
home, dude.
Me too. Me too. I always say this, like, it feels great to be back from the Wild West.
It felt like the Wild West, huh?
It didn't feel like it was wild until I came back.
That's the context.
I was in the hurricane.
the eye of the hurricane.
Yeah.
Damn, man. Well, I'm glad you're out of that hurricane.
It was fun, you know,
Yeah.
but it was just a lot.
But selfishly, we're glad to have you back.
Oh, selfishly, I'm glad to be back.
It's
I couldn't
safe
go
to
back.
say we will be collabing again in the future.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, and I know, and we know, more on that later.
Yeah.
But I think you're gonna do some incredible things
Well, thank you.
with
We
us
all
and
are.
us with you, and
Yeah.
the sky's the limit, right?
What sky?
Exactly. Exactly, man. Well, I'm very glad you're home. You are my brother. I don't think of you as a
That's right.
friend. I think of you as a brother.
Yeah.
I mean, you call my mom and dad.
That's my parents, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally. So, you know how we sign off, right?
Let's do it.
All right. You ready? That's your camera right
Okay.
there. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, check out our other videos.
And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. See you next week. Peace.